Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think the good news out of this debate, or what is fortunate, is that Canadians are watching what is happening in parliamentary committees more than ever before, and they are watching what's happening in this committee because they understand the very important work we are doing in scrutinizing the spending of their taxpayer dollars. And so on that note, I would like to move the motion that I put on notice, I believe it was a week ago or a little more than a week ago, that given that a Global Affairs Canada investigation into government contracts found a failure rate of 26%, and the report found, and I quote, "the signed contract was not provided. One contract was approved by an individual who benefited from the transaction," unquote. The committee called the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Melanie Joly, the Honourable Melanie Joly, to appear for a 2-hour meeting, and the Deputy Minister and officials responsible for the report to appear for a 2-hour meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I've got a speaking list of Mr. Genuis and Mrs. Cusi. Go ahead, Mr. Genuis.
Thank you, Chair. I want to thank Ms. Block for putting forward this important motion. Look, we have seen across this NDP Liberal government so many examples of outrageous contracting irregularities, and taxpayers are now coming to see the pattern through which their money is wasted. Broken, unfair, unreasonable contracting processes that reward well-connected NDP Liberal insiders and do not deliver value for money. We have seen this pattern over and over again. This committee has done extensive work on the Arrive scam scandal, but we are now seeing that the Arrive scam scandal is the tip of the iceberg. It's part of a larger pattern, which is that we have a government that is focused on paying and rewarding well-connected NDP Liberal insiders instead of delivering efficient, effective results for Canadians. There is so much waste. There is so much in the way of savings to be realized and value to be created by improving the system. And Chair, it's not lost on me, and I think on many Canadians, that many of the people who are at the center of sketchy procurement and contracting questions also happen to be those who are being considered or want to be considered for future Liberal leadership. We've got Minister Anita Anand, the President of the Treasury Board, and all the problems we've seen there. We have the Public Safety Minister responsible for CBSA, where the Arrive scam scandal is happening now, being rumored, and now Minister Joly with the contracting problems at Foreign Affairs. So I would say that these ministers responsible for outrageous procurement problems within their departments, who are looking for a promotion in their role, they should come before the committee and provide an explanation for their management of their current roles and the procurement problems that we've seen. So it's a common sense motion, giving Minister Joly an opportunity to be accountable and provide a report to this committee on what has happened. So I hope that members will see the obvious logic of supporting this motion, saying that the minister should come and appear. I'll say, Chair, hopefully not on the 29th as well. You never know with the government, but look, if that's the only time, if she'll come from 8:30 to 10:30 on the 29th, we'll take it. Ministers need to provide responses, and I'll just say as well, this committee has developed, I think, over the months we've been working on this issue, a particular experience and knowledge as it relates to government procurement problems. best practices and how far this current government is missing the mark when it comes to best practices for procurement. So I think we are ready and well positioned to do this. If somebody is, as the various leadership candidates try to position themselves for being the future leader of the Liberal Party, they should be willing to, in their current roles, come before committee and provide answers. I'll say as well, this committee has rightly asserted the prerogatives of parliamentary committees when it comes to getting answers from government contractors. Christian Firth was supposed to appear. He refused to appear. He refused summons. Eventually, he appeared before this committee but didn't answer key questions. And as a result of that, we made a report to the House. He was summoned to appear before the House. So it would seem to me that after we've established that we are committed to ensuring that that private citizens who are involved in sketchy government contracting provide answers, we should be equally insistent and equally willing to use the tools that are available to us to assert also that ministers of the Crown who are elected and charged by the executive with running departments and being accountable for them, that we would be equally or more insistent that those ministers provide answers for what happens in their department. If we're going to go all the way in saying that Christian Firth, Darren Anthony, other such people have to provide responses to committees, then we should say the same thing about ministers of the Crown and not have a dynamic in which cover is provided for ministers not being accountable for those activities. So I hope we see consistency from this committee, that we expect the same accountability of ministers as we have asked for from private citizens involved in contracting. So I'll look forward to seeing where members land on that. And Chair, I'll wrap up my remarks at that point.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Cousy.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I'd like to thank the Leader of the Official Opposition for this birthday card that he gave me last week. Those well wishes were very well received, so I'm grateful for that. I want to start by saying I just want to follow up on my colleague's comments. I think that this motion follows a theme that we've had in this committee, and that is to search for accountability from not only departments, but fundamentally ministers. It actually would have been my desire that we would have seen all departments that had contracts with GC Strategies, their ministers show up at this committee, but unfortunately we didn't have that opportunity. But I think given this report specifically at Global Affairs Canada, it behooves us to call in the minister to defend the procurement within this department. And with that, Mr. Chair, I would actually encourage all departments to perhaps conduct the same exercise within their respective departments to really internally look at what is going on in their departments and how money is being spent, because that is fundamentally what this committee is about, is ensuring the funds that were granted out of trust by the Canadian people were well spent by departments who are fundamentally overseen by their ministers. And so to me, the appearance of the minister would absolutely be in alignment with the mandate of this committee and the oversight for which this committee has the responsibility of. Now, my second point, Mr. Chair, comes from my personal experience as a management consular officer at Foreign Affairs Canada, which was then DFAT, which was then DFAT-D, which, pardon me, is now Global Affairs Canada. But as a former management consular officer, Mr. Chair, I can tell you that the audit team at Global Affairs Canada is the best that there is. They go into missions, they go into departments, they leave no stone unturned in terms of their evaluation. And I can truly say that their work is invaluable. And I give them thanks and credit for shining this light on the department, for having the courage to bring this information forward. Because really that is the job of of a bureaucrat, one of which I proudly was for close to a decade and a half, is to not only do the work of the Canadian people, Mr. Chair, but also to speak truth to power. And I feel in bringing forward this brave group of public servants at Global Affairs Canada is bringing truth to power. And I was also, I'll add, Mr. Chair, very proud to be the interim director of a sister group of this audit group during my time at Global Affairs Canada. So the quality of this work and the objective of this work, I am in strong support of, and I give thanks to, and I would like the minister to be held to account for what this outstanding group uncovered. And my final comment is, Mr. Chair, is that certainly the ongoing role of the Minister of Foreign Affairs has been one of relations external to Canada, which my colleagues would agree with me. I believe we have seen to be reactive. They have not been consistent. They have not come from a place of consistent values, as we saw with the previous government, with the Harper government. And I'm very excited about the return to a values-based foreign affairs platform in a future Poilievre government. But what the minister did make her mandate is revitalization of Global Affairs Canada, and with that, supposedly, a new hope, a hope that the members of the Canadian Foreign Service and public servants at Global Affairs Canada could have faith in the work that their department is doing. And yet this audit team uncovered cracks, uncovered faults, uncovered areas that need to be improved upon. Foreign Affairs Canada, Global Affairs Canada serves as the emissaries of Canada to the world, and therefore serves as the foundation of values, Mr. Chair, for Canada. And one of the fundamental values of Canada under a Poilievre government will be value for money. And yet this procurement report did not show that this was so, did not show that this work was always conducted in an ethical manner. So if the very heart of our foreign policy, of where it is conducted, is being completed in this manner, that's a problem. That's a problem, Mr. Chair, and Canadians deserve answers from the chief diplomat, from the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And we need to bring her in here to be held to account for what this incredible audit team uncovered. I think it's very important as it serves of a beacon not only within the government itself currently to show that they are willing to take account for their work and improve upon it, but on the very foundation of our values here in Canada, which Global Affairs Canada is, which is supposed to act as a light, a guiding light for the rest of Canada. In this instance, it was not the case. And so we need the Minister of Foreign Affairs here to account for that, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Joly, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's great to hear that we acknowledge the work of the internal audit team at GAC. So I echo that statement. The rest of it, I think it was political. But the good thing is the internal team did a great job, and it was proactively and publicly released. So this was an internal audit done. The internal audit is focused on low dollar values. The ministers, and I use the word ministers, do not have any involvement in approval of the low dollar values. But having an opportunity to ask questions and get an understanding of what those low dollar values are, it's a great idea. And having an opportunity to talk to those who have authorized those, it's a great idea. By the way, there are 3 ministers as part of GAC, and we are not sure, aside from the political reason why Minister Joly has been highlighted here. There are Minister of International Development, Minister of International Trade, as well as Minister of Foreign Affairs. All those 3 ministers are part of the GAC, so highlighting or selecting one minister as opposed to the others for an area that they do not have any signing authority, or they were not engaged in signing authority, is questionable. Our suggestion is we would gladly like to invite the officials to come, those who and give us an understanding and the breakdown of these. They are naturally publicly released, so it was a good opportunity for us to look at what type of contract there were, what was the purpose, why, how many of the low dollar value contracts were under one theme, and then after that, if we see any trend that points to a specific ministry, then we would be open into having senior officials to come. And again, if that comes into brings into a light in any type of ministerial involvement, then we would be glad to support a motion to bring the ministers. So as such, as it's drafted, we will not be supporting this motion, and at least I won't be supporting it. I believe the approach that we should take is, first of all, commanding the internal audit group, as I believe everybody is doing, getting an understanding of the scope of the audit, the fact that it's publicly shared. It's a great opportunity for us to all look at it, then have the procurement department within the GAC come in and explain what those are. And then if we need to, we would be able to move into officials at the next level. And then I doubt it, but we'll be in a position to look at the ministerial involvement. So unless we could consider this to vote and we'll vote it down, or we could, or at least I will vote it down, or we could look into amendment as such. Thank you.
Mr. Genuis, please, then Mrs. Block.
Thank you, Chair. This is the typical approach of Liberals to try to bury the necessary accountability. So let's start with establishing what the principle of ministerial responsibility is about. Ministerial responsibility means that the minister takes responsibility for what happens at their department. That if there are problems, those problems may relate to decisions that they themselves are not directly involved in, but nonetheless, they are responsible for establishing a culture and protocols through which there is respect for taxpayers' money. And the Liberal member across the way was kind of dismissive of these concerns, saying, "Well, we're talking about low dollar values here." This audit,
Point of order, Mr.
a
Chair.
small
Sorry, Mr.
random.
Genuis, have a
yeah.
point of order. Mr. Joly?
Just as a clarification to my colleague, I was not dismissing it. I was
Chair,
just
that's not a point of
highlighting
order.
the fact
That's,
that it was
editorializing,
low dollar value, and I
remember,
said it's worth it
that's
to
not a
bring
point
the
of order,
officials
Mr. Johari.
so they can explain. So it was not dismissive. Thank you.
You should reflect
Thanks.
on.
Mr. Joly had the floor. Mr. Genuis, it's back to you.
Thank you, Chair. That was not a point of order, and members across should learn the rules both of contracting and of parliamentary committees. As I was saying,
the best.
the committee, the auditors looked at a random sample of contracts, 72, and 26% of them did not comply with the Financial Administration Act. So over a quarter of contracts that were sampled didn't comply with the law as it relates to contracting. So this is a massive problem, and clearly a systematic problem. So if there's a systematic problem in a department, and we let ministers repeatedly get away with saying, "Oh, well, those decisions are being made by other people." Well, the minister's responsible for administering the department, and if there's a systematic problem, the minister needs to take responsibility for that problem and for taking action to resolve that problem. The Liberals just don't believe that they're accountable when things go wrong inside the government. We're not talking about a case of one or two bad apples. We're not talking about a junior public servant who by themselves independently broke a rule. we're talking about a systematic issue where over a quarter of contracts in the Foreign Affairs Department do not follow the law. And that's a situation where leadership is required and where leadership has to take responsibility. And as a parliamentary committee, yes, we should seek responses from those responsible for leading the department. That said, I am interested in trying to meet Mr. Johari in the middle with his proposal. So I'd like to move an amendment to the motion to say that the committee call Minister of Foreign Affairs Melanie Joly, Minister of International Development, and Minister of Trade. And then to each appear for a 2-hour meeting, and Deputy Minister and officials responsible for the report to appear for a 2-hour meeting. So I think it reads fine from there. Simply to add in the Minister of International Development and the Minister of Trade. So hopefully that is an acceptable compromise for Mr. Johari, and we'll be able to proceed with that accountability.